collective. Yeah, that's great. That'd be great, yeah. That one's good. Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much. First of all, really special to be with you all here this evening. Thank you. What an incredible place and community as well that you have here. I think the world needs people like you guys, so well done. Shining lights in society, respect. I have been asked to share a few words with you this evening on the role that adventure, but also faith, plays in my life. And to be honest, talking about faith isn't always easy. You know, I always think it's a bit like trying to describe swimming, you know, or maybe eating ice cream or something like that. But I will do my best for you here today. When I first joined the British Special Forces as a young soldier, I always remember a guy much wiser than me saying this. He said, there are three things in life to have faith in. You've got to have faith in yourself, you've got to have faith in each other, and you've got to have faith in the Almighty. And I always remembered that. But what does having faith really mean? And how can it shape us and like guide us and empower us in our lives? Because when life is often all going great, it's easy to think that we don't need any help. But what often happens then is that life comes along and hits us. It often hits us hard. And it tests us. And it asks some questions. And if our foundations in life are shaky, we fall down. And I've seen it often. I really have. I've seen it often in the wild. You know, everyone thinks they're strong until they're not. Myself included. You know, the wild can be a very, very humbling place. But it is a universal truth that life will test you. You know, like it or not, it will test you. Our Everest will always come. And it might be a mountain. It might be just a tough time at home, or maybe a tough time at work, or maybe, I don't know, maybe something worse. Maybe we lose somebody close to us. Whatever it is, life will test us. And I was lucky many years ago to get to stand on the top of the world's highest mountain, on top of that high, hostile peak, on top of that, my Everest, if you like. And it was extraordinary. You know, you see the curvature of the earth at the edges, and you're just very aware you're somewhere special. But that peak also took its toll. And we had 4 climbers lose their lives up there. 2 died of the cold, and 2 fell to their deaths. And to be honest, on that mountain, I experienced as many moments of doubt and struggle as I did moments of eyes wide wonder that obviously went with it. And people often ask me, they say, what helped you in those moments? What has helped you since? In so many moments, so many jungles and deserts and mountains and tough places. And the truth for me is found in that one word, faith. Especially faith in each other, and especially faith in the Almighty. Because I've learned that on our own, to be honest, we're pretty weak. I'm pretty weak, I know it. But with and connected to something that's bigger than me, I'm stronger. I feel it. And my faith helps me in so many ways and in so many moments. I think of the day job, from trying to crawl my way out of quicksand, to parachute failures, to rock falls and avalanches and Pindon Rapids. Help me. But also in life too. In the good times, but maybe more importantly in the tougher times. I've just learned, lean on the beautiful presence of the Almighty in your heart. And that has never let me down. Just quiet, but empowering, and always there. But I'd also say that having faith hasn't always been easy. And it hasn't meant everything is just suddenly goes okay. If anything, it's the opposite. It's meant many battles and many struggles and many doubts as well. But those are just part of it. They're part of the journey. Maybe especially the doubts, actually. You know, faith and doubt, two sides, same coin. And then at other times, I've just tried to do it on my own. And I've survived for a while. But alone, we can never be fully empowered. And time and many experience have taught me that. And I feel now it's like, I don't know, like almost like a point of awareness. Knowing that true adventure starts with that step of faith. That is the beginning. So now, in my life, when it comes to quietly bending the knee and asking for the presence of the Almighty to bring me peace and give me strength and give me light in my life, I'm no longer afraid to do that. And as they say, man is never as tall as when he kneels down. And I've always loved that quote. I know I'm going to answer some questions from you guys in a minute and from Andy, but I wanted to finish with some beautiful words that I once read carved into a little wooden mountain cross in this little mountain chapel. And it was small, little chapel, old creaky door. No lock. Walked in, and just a plain wooden cross, and it had these words carved into it, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, and I've never forgotten it. And it sums up faith, really, for me. It just said, Christ beside me, Christ within me, Christ to shield me, and Christ to win me. And beautiful words, humble words that have helped me so much in my life. But as I say, also in adventure. So those are the words I want to leave you with. Thank you.
So on the QR code, do feel free to add your questions. But Bear, first of all, you served as a trooper with 21 SAS as a young man. What was it like being in the SAS? Often we see these programs on TV about it, but what's it like actually being in the SAS and the whole recruitment process?
First of all, that was definitely a hard part of life as well, getting in there. I actually failed selection the first time. People often don't know that. Everyone always skirts over the failures. But there have actually been so many of the key things in my life being the failures first. So I failed selection first time. 120 of us lined up at the beginning. I looked left and right. Everyone was like, I thought I'm dead. Got about 3/4 of the way through and then failed. I just wasn't fast enough or smart enough or good enough. But they invited some of us to go back and try again. Lined up again, 120, left, right. This time I didn't look left and right. This time I looked forward. Laser focus on what I needed to do. I just knew I've got to give more, dig deeper, try harder, be even more of a never give upper. make it that whenever it's hard, that's a trigger. Keep going. And all those months later, 4 of us were there at the end, and I kind of feel best friends in my life still to this day, a great community that's never left me. I only served a few years, and I was the most junior rank, and I did very, very little, compared to most people. I have so many friends who stayed on and served all over the world. I was very, very junior, but that family, that community, and that pride has never left me, and the skills definitely still use a lot in my day job, the climbing and the skydiving. But yeah, I'm proud of that time.
And you mentioned now that you climbed Everest. What's incredible is that 18 months before that, you broke your back in a free diving accident. So do you want to share what happened there and how did you begin to almost from a hospital bed explore climbing the highest mountain in the world?
Yeah, it was a skydiving accident in Africa. I broke my back in 3 places. Spent many months then in rehabilitation back in the UK, trying to rebuild confidence as much as movement again. Struggled to get across the room for a long, long time, but you build things up slowly, don't you? And I know my family were incredible, great friends helped me. The rehab centre called Headley Court were like such rocks. My faith helped me through that time. And I really just set my heart and mind on Everest. I was going to get strong enough to reach the bathroom on this floor without pain, then on the floor above. And then one day I was going to get strong enough to climb Everest. That was the focus. That was my dream. And people thought it was crazy, but it's like I was saying, the left field things that hit you in life are actually often the making of us. And I kind of actually wonder whether I would have ever fought to climb that mountain that eventually changed my life in so many ways if I hadn't had that accident originally.
Wow. And you talk about your kind of Christian faith. Was there a kind of key moment? Was that a burning bush experience? Was that kind of a gradual journey? How did you kind of come to faith? What would be some of your story around that?
Well, it wasn't a burning bush thing, no. My faith is very, very regular. But I had a real faith as a kid. I just believed in something that was bigger than us. It was like, wow. I couldn't really articulate it more than that. Then I went to school, and school was very formal. We had chapel every day. Half of it was in Latin. People in white robes. I thought, I've really got things wrong. This is God, and it's pretty scary. So I kind of just, as a young teenager, threw it all out. I thought, I don't need that. It's not relevant for my life. And threw it out. And to be honest, it's been a lifetime of unlearning, of learning that bathwater can go, but the baby is beautiful. The heart of faith is amazing. And I remember when I was having just a battle as a teenager and struggling just mentally with a few things when I was 16. I remember saying a little prayer at the base of a tree outside. I didn't even know it was a prayer. I just said, God, I wish you were like when I was a kid. Wow. Amen. And, like I said, it was no burning bush, nothing dramatic happened, but a light was definitely lit. And from small acorns, oak trees grow, and that fire has never gone out. It's been a pilot light maybe, started small. Sometimes it's raging, sometimes it's low, but the light never goes. It's not dependent on how I'm doing, how full of faith I am. We're bought at a price. We're loved. Once we ask, it never goes out. So, and that journey continues. I definitely don't have it all together now. I don't stand up here with any sense of authority like that, apart from I'm on the journey, and that light has been beautiful.
Brilliant. Your TV shows reach, I think, 1 billion people, which is incredible. Did you ever imagine kind of growing up that one day you'd be this infamous TV star? Was that kind of on your kind of radar as a kid, as a young person? Or?
Well, first of all, I don't feel like that at all. I'm very, very normal, as you've learned now, But I think TV often makes everybody into heroes, and it's not like that. I don't know. I take that side of stuff with a bucket of salt, not just a pinch of salt, a bucket of salt. And if I forget it, my family will pick up the bucket and throw it over. That's my work. That is just my work.
Yeah. So people often ask, I think, well, what is the worst thing you've ever eaten? Because you used to eat some pretty ridiculous stuff on screen. So can you give us kind of the top 5 worst recipes from Bear Grylls?
Worst recipe, yeah. Yeah, if I ever started a restaurant, nobody would ever come. Yeah. There've been some bad things over the years. I don't know, like raw goat's testicles were bad, like camel intestinal fluids, a lot of rat brain, that's bad, like yak eyeballs, I don't know, like tarantulas, scorpions, snakes. Probably the worst was a skunk's anus.
Yeah.
Which, if you actually think about it, the clue is in the 2 words, isn't it? You know, if one of the words doesn't give you a red flag, the other one should. You know, it's like old Thicko here didn't get that memo.
So in your shows, there's a lot about not only eating
Love coming to church on a.
Yeah.
I was in America recently, and I went to speak at this like thing called Man Camp. It was like 5,000 great redneck, like, you know, it was brilliant. I thought, finally, what a great community. And the church service started, no joke, it was brilliant. It was like this, yeah, but big. And the sheriff came in. And he said, before the vicar stands up, I just want to say, fucking get your shit together. Yeah. And you can't go throwing rubbish around and like kicking, you know, like just, you know, he gave the whole... Wow. And I just got up laughing, thinking, it's taken me 50 years. I finally found my crowd. What a great way to start the church service. Not that it's good to swear, by the way, for the younger people, because it's not. But sometimes when a sheriff swears at you, you got to listen. Yeah.
Wise words.
So what's been your learning of the night so far?
In many of your shows, you're helping people to kind of face fears, or you're facing fears yourselves. What have you learned about in terms of overcoming fear, and what are you still, to this day, scared of?
Wow, yeah, fear. Well, first of all, fear's part of life. You know, if we're not scared of stuff, it means we're sitting in that comfort pit too much. We're not doing anything. But the thing is, life, if you don't keep trained and you don't put yourself in the fight, you actually stagnate, you go backwards. There's no static in life. You're either going backwards or you're going forward. So you've got to seek out the fear a little bit. It's there to help us. I've learned the only way through your fears is through the middle. And I seek it out. I get super nervous of many things. I get really nervous before this sort of thing. Like if you see me backstage, my hand shakes. You know, it really does. But it's like it's okay. Like, welcome to the human race. And I seek it out. It's training. That shake, that's training. And then when you have to face the really scary stuff, because this isn't really scary, if you have to face the really scary stuff out in life, you're ready.
Brilliant.
That's what I've learned about fear.
It's good. And you've sold over 20 million copies of your books, particularly in USA and China. But you're saying that this book, this new book, The Greatest Story Ever Told, is your most important book. So why is that?
I think because it's all of our stories wrapped up in it, whoever we are. It affects all of our lives, our confidences, our relationships, our futures, our ultimate future. It's not just like a make-up story or your story or my story. This is all of our stories wrapped up in this one story. And it's so radically different from the version I was brought up with, that was so sanitized and religious. And I just thought nobody's ever actually written the story of Christ as a thriller, the real story. You know, we all know stories, like the Good Samaritan maybe, or, the virgin birth or something. But the whole story is so incredible. It's a story like sacrifice and love and adventure and friendship. And I don't know, it's changed my life so much. I mean, like I said, it's been the hardest thing I've done, but the best thing. Because I get people write to me all over the world, from every different community, culture, and faith. You know, from Muslims to Hindu people, and they all basically say the same thing, which is I had no idea of actually what the story was. And it blew me away. So, the Bible can be hard to read. I mean, I'm still hopeless at it. Yeah. I mean, a pastor in America wrote to me the other day, he said, this is genius. This is like John Grisham was tasked with writing the Jesus story. And I thought it was a good description. Short, punchy chapters, theologically 100% accurate, but like written as a thriller of the story that it actually is.
And what are your kind of long-term hopes for this book? What are your kind of your dream for this book?
I think that it can help people find true faith, the real faith, not the religion side, just real faith that empowers and helps your life. And it's so beautiful. And like I say, it's changing lives every day. I mean, I already feel, to be honest, this book has way outgrown me. I don't actually feel it's my book any longer, which is sweet. You know, it's like got a life of its own. And because the words never change and they never grow old. And they're as relevant now as ever. If it's real. That's the big question. And for that, we have to read the story. So it's kind of cool circle.
Brilliant. Abby, do you want to come up with some questions from the crew who are here? So what have we got on the top questions?
What have we got in the top questions? There are absolutely loads of questions that have been coming in from you guys, and I think that actually you've already answered quite a lot of them, but there are some quick fire questions.
Go on then.
Do you prefer the platypus or the capybara?
Oh, God, I don't think I know what they are. I don't know. Who asked that one?
There you go.
You must have been good at school. Better than me. There you go. Which you prefer? Yeah. Platypus?
The platypus. The platypus it is. Do you prefer the axe or the chainsaw?
Axe or the chainsaw? I think the axe. Chainsaws always break. And they always run out of fuel.
What does a bug really taste like?
Grim. But you know what? Sometimes in life you've got to do the difficult. If you're hungry, you need energy, you need fuel for the adventure, you've got to do it. Anything burnt over a fire for long enough is okay.
Just taste of charcoal.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get a little bit more serious now. If there was something you could say, which I'm sure you have said, to your kids to inspire faith in them, what do you say to your children to inspire their faith?
I think with faith, I think you just got to live it, haven't you? You know, it's like, I don't think words really always, I don't know, it's that, I think we share faith by our actions and our deeds and just loving each other, trying to be kind, asking forgiveness when we mess up as parents and as kids. You know, I don't know, the moments that have really stuck to me in faith has always been the unseen little things, not the big mountains. It's the kneeling beside our boys' beds when they were little, saying a little prayer goodnight. Or even them putting their hand on my head if they saw I was nervous before going off for a few weeks of work or something. It's those little moments. That's faith in action, and then just connections and great friends, and yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Do you find a God and nature link?
I think everything is linked in life. I mean, the older I get, the more I live, the more I realize there is no individual things. We are all connected. Every word, every deed, every kindness, every cruel word, every dream, every failure, every mountain, every stream, this whole thing of life. We are all connected. Every tree, I mean, they talk about that now. They've studied that trees communicate hundreds of miles apart. Wacky and crazy as it sounds, they actually do, with neuron connections and releasing of like acids and sort of aromas, and like they connect. And like the more we discover of life and nature, everything's connected. And I like that. We're designed like that. It gives me faith, because it's then like, how can you just that be an accident? The more we see, the more that connection is in everything. And we only see with 1-2 filter of eyes. You know, one day we'll see that. We'll see it, I'm sure, and it'll be like amazing.
Brilliant. Round of applause to Bear Grylls.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.